Hello and welcome to our series of how-to videos for our DIY picture framing products. Whether you're just learning to frame or you've actually been framing for a while and want to take it to a home-based business, this series of videos will help you all the way through. Today we're going to show you some techniques for using our jumper tacks to secure down either t-shirts or football jumpers, rugby tops, any memorabilia which is a shirt. We'll show you some techniques for keeping it flat and then for using the jumper tacks to secure it to the backing board. We're also going to show you two ways of doing it, one with a mount around and one without the mount, which is just securing the glass forward and having a spacer to the backing board. The first task in doing any memorabilia top or t-shirt is to get a bit of foam board to the size of the internal. So any foam board will do. This is where I'm using, you either use 3mm or 5mm, and what we want to do is cut this to the shape of the top. So we've prepared one a little bit earlier, and you can see here that this is going to fit to the V. So what we want to do is place this up underneath, and all you do is just take a simple sketch of the outside, and this is going to give us our rigidity. You're never going to get a top that's going to actually sit perfect. We're always going to have a gather from where they're made here, usually around the arms and the necks. But the best you can do to get this flat. Whenever you're doing this memorabilia, some will have a signature, whether it be on the back or the front. Sometimes with very large tops you may need to fold up underneath to get the sizing right. What we do then with our jumper tacks is these are a two-part. So we've got the nut and this disc. And what that does is we will make a backing board in a minute. We're going to place that through both the top and into the backing board, and then do the disc up on the back of the board. If your object that you're framing has a mount around it, now is the time to place that over the top of the backing board. Now, backing board is a combination of our mount board and a foam board stuck together. And we just line this up, so that then is going to give us a guide as to where we're going to put our top. So what we want to do is put a pencil line here, here and here, once we've measured our distances, to make sure we're going to be square to the backing. Once we've done that, we're ready to use our jumper tacks. Now the idea here is we want to make a hole underneath, so I'm just putting a foam block underneath there, pulling my jumper back and pushing a hole all the way through. Now you can use a nail for that. A 3-inch nail is always handy for those. What you want to do then is push the jumper tack through both, just like that. And you continue around with this one. You put one here, one on the other side. You can put two out here, a pack of 6 they come in, and then you can put 2 down the bottom. Or you could just double tack the bottom down. The technique with the jumper tacks is once you push them through, we've just done the 2 top ones here, you can see we've actually used the foam board there to put it through, which makes it nice and secure. You can actually just push them through the top. If it's a decent sort of top, you can use that rigidity there of near the collar to hold it out. So a technique is to, once we've done that, flip it over like so, and then you'll see we've attached one disc here. Sometimes once you've pushed through, you'll find there's a bit of foam core gone proud of the back, so just trim around that area, and then with another disc all you're simply doing is pushing down and screwing on, and that's then sandwiching it all together. So you continue around. Once you push the other ones in, you may have another 2 here, and you may, like I said before, have 2 down the bottom. Once we get to the finished product, we can just trim off the excess. There is 2 ways of framing the memorabilia. One is to have it like this effect with no mount on the side, which means we're essentially box framing it. Now the concept is we have to keep the item away from the glass. So what we're going to do is put our glass in and then create a shelf for the backing board to sit onto. If we were using a mat, we would have the glass forward, the mat forward, then we would create another rebate or rabbet in the inside of the frame so that the backing can sit onto. If we're just going to use glass and a backing board without the mount, what we want to do is secure the glass forward and create another ledge for the actual backing board to sit onto. So what we're going to do in here is have our glass forward, and then we're going to have a strip of board in here pushing the glass forward, and this is simply foam core with double-sided tape that we're going to peel off, and that's then going to stick to the inside of the rebate. And what we've done is put a coloured card on here. Now you can use the same colour as the mount board backing, or you could use just a neutral black because we've got a black frame. So all you're simply doing is putting your glass in and then holding that forward like so, and that then is going to create another little lip here and give us a box effect. So we're going to do that all the way around, holding that in there, and then the glass will be nice and secure. Likewise, if we're using a mount, all we're doing is, once again, we have our glass forward, but then we'll have the mount sitting in here, and we want to hold all that forward. So we use our strips again and create another lip there. So we're pushing forward on here. This may need to be a bit narrower because you've got obviously the mount board thickness as well, and it really depends on the depth of our frame, but that will all hold that forward. Now, one of the other things we need to do in a frame is, with the mount work, is build it up on the back. So you can see here, because we don't want that to flop around inside, we've just got some wider bits of foam core, and we're going to secure that all the way around. This will still sit forward, but then we're creating a nice other ledge for that to sit onto. So then we're going to hold all that forward. Sometimes it can be a bit tricky with finishing off the backing of these, and sometimes you'll find that memorabilia has quite a weight to it. So firstly, to secure it in, if you're sitting proud of the back, try and just dent it down like this and push in here, and then bend it back, and obviously using your tape as well. If you've got very large frames and you're worried about the weight, it's great to put a D-ring or a hanger here, one up the side and come back down. Therefore what we're doing is running our wire in this shape here, and that's pulling everything together. So that's our tips on memorabilia framing. Remember, your principles of cutting your mats and joining and cutting your frame is all the same. It's really working out how you're going to hold the item on the backing board securely over time. Double-sided tape is really not going to hold it once it's got some heat from the lights on it. So the jumper tacks are a great way to make sure they're nice and secure. Your backing comes down to a combination of how deep is my rebate, whether I'm sitting proud of the back. So they're just little things you've got to work out as you go along. But the end result, as you can see, is very rewarding.